the wokeism cauldron has finally finished and bubbled up. The lid's been lifted off. What's in there doesn't smell very nice or look very appetizing. What woke culture was, it's had a few meanings. The first meaning was to be alert to the police in the 1930s for black people. There was another meaning later in the 60s and early 70s, in academia. And then it's come out now and it's in CRT, which is teaching everyone that the world is a nasty place and people to blame are white people who enslaved everybody and we're responsible for all global slavery, even though there's 50 million slaves today. I have been watching this scene for almost as long as Jordan Peterson. I was in the original. I've been predicting this quite accurately for a number of years. I am a professional psychologist, so I'm retired. I had an accident, meant I can't work. So once I grieved for that loss of a rewarding career, this is what I do for a living. Excuse that noise. So, particularly a trauma therapist, so PTSD and high-level anxiety disorders, that's my speciality. Now, what's happened here, and we have to really take it very seriously, is foreign money, inappropriate money and foreign money, has flowed into our education establishment for nearly 20 years. And it's been under certain conditions in some parts, with some donations, that they teach a certain thing in their syllabus. By the time they get to university level, they're mainly being taught about Marxism, socialism, communism, and victimhood, and being oppressed. And they're always the oppressed. They act like the bully. They are the real bully in the room. They don't know it, but they're always oppressed. I mean, there's this one girl who goes out to dinner, sets her phone up to record somebody calling her sir, then so she can complain about it and get him sacked. And then at some point during every video, she said, "It's like a knife to my heart every time they say sir." And it's like, why are you going out setting up your TikTok for meals on your own? What are you expecting? You're expecting it. That's entrapment. And here, where we now have, it's now 2S LGBTQQ plus IA, and I can't always get it right. So 2S starts that movement officially now, LGBT. No one did any counselling with the LGBT movement, which is why I've started Gays for Palestine, just to highlight how ridiculous it is. Because if any of these college protesters that we've been watching violently, if they've broken the law, frankly, they need to pay the consequences. You knew you'd put your scholarship on the risk. You knew you put yourself at risk of losing student loans. With that everywhere in social media, there's no way you could not have known that. It's not all the kids. They've been taught and radicalized and indoctrinized in many cases. And what was the T has taken over the LGBT movement, but you have micro identities, which are some identities under your main identity. Now there's a psychological basis for that. It's called part theory. It's applicable to all human beings, but it's not an identity. You act differently around a policeman than you do your mum. Yeah. Then you've got a part of you that acts differently in certain situations. That's what it is. But rather than figure life out on their own, they've been filled with anger, specifically at the white heterosexual male, but they've been filled with anger, given incorrect historical facts. Barely any of them had heard of Stalin or Mao's regime, yet they're teaching them communism is the best way. But this has been happening for years, guys. It's just been ramping up recently. In England, we've luckily stopped a lot of it, but in America, it has to be done state by state. The worst part's that the trans thing, to me, it seems like an addiction. It really does. It does, and I do a lot of work on addiction, and I'm currently writing a book on it. So it is preferable than, it's an explanation, let's put it that way. In the beginning, there was the LGBT movement, okay? Sat comfortably for a long time. For as far as England goes, we were not opposed to gay marriage. We weren't homophobic. We're pretty liberal. I think we're the most liberal country there is, really. Certainly, the demographics would show that. So then, when queer theory comes into it, which is part of the transgender issue, is that you can't be happy unless you're some type of queer. So they took the insult that was used to homosexuals. No, didn't consult them again. I am consulting with my gay friends about literally trying to start a fake gays for Palestine movement. But it isn't a laughing matter. They're picking up with this person with micro-identities. They said, they also, so how many micro-identities can you have? And she said, it's endless. It's like, so if we took identities and micro-identities, how many identities? Please put a figure to it. 1, 2, whatever you like. 1, 100, I don't care. How many identities can a person have? And the person answered, 2 billion, maybe 3. As if they were giving a building code. It's a delusion, but it's based on what they've been taught. And of course they're going to come up against opposition if they come out of the stalls, punching, fight, ready to go. It's not going to, we're behind on this. Our educational systems in Europe and the US need massive reform. But a lot of these kids they're picking, a lot of these genders mean that you're not men or women. So I don't know what it's about, but they're changing them. Neo-pronouns. They couldn't make something make sense with all the pronouns we have and the 72 they added. Now they have neo ones, which are new ones they get to make up. You don't get to know what they are. And they don't even run singularly and plurally. They can choose from different sets. It's a strange complex. It is a fantasy land. Beautiful young people have been put through this and turned out to look like, the Eurovision contest, song contest this year is a perfect example, look like devils, and it's almost about who can outdo each other and be the most outrageous type of woke trans person, really make the biggest statement. And I honestly think that this is an addictive thing. I honestly think that this is people who are not sure about their identity, not willing to let anyone else involved in the debate. It's a big bad sign, a terrible sign for life, and constantly latching on to new things. They haven't got any attention span whatsoever. And it's a big problem. It is, as far as culture wars go, this culture war with wokeism has to be won. Otherwise, we will not have a culture we want to live in. I can't stress that highly enough. If you've just jumped on the bandwagon, it's been going on for a very long time. And I've been here front row seat every day, 7 days a week. I literally work alcoholically, but that's not, I don't drink. I work, addictively. So yeah, it's a very difficult complex, and I'm gonna leave it. And I really do think it's a form of a mental illness. It was declassified by the World Health Organization in 2019, and I would reclassify it if I had my way, because look what we've seen since. It's banal. It's slightly insane. It doesn't work. It won't work in society. We can't have a society like this. We need to act. We need to work together. We need to stick together, and we need to keep our kids safe in schools and out of schools. I'll be good. You be lucky, and I'll see you soon. Do the likey, subscribe thing. Do share, please, these videos. They're quite important for me. And leave comments in the comment section and stuff like that. And if you didn't like it, you've already left. Trick I learned, actually. Hopefully you did. All the best. Bye.